Hello and welcome to Wilmington Biz Talk. Today, our topic is the manufacturing sector. Um, we have a cover story coming up in the next Greater Wilmington Business Journal print issue, which is out tomorrow, Friday. It focuses on training and the workforce pipeline for the area's manufacturing sector. And to discuss that today, we've got John Barber, General Manager of JCC Outdoor Products and Wilmington Grill, Aaron Easton, Workforce Training Coordinator at Cape Fear Community College, and James Flock, General Manager of HSM Machine Works. So starting off today, I'd like to thank everybody for being on Wilmington Biz Talk with us. Appreciate you being on. And the first question I want to ask you about is if you could kind of, and you guys can take turns, maybe start with you, Aaron, if you could kind of describe what some of the biggest challenges are when it comes to the manufacturing workforce locally and, and trend wise.
Great. Thanks for having me. So a lot of folks have probably seen, and in the Business Journal and other outlets, there's a lot of new manufacturing businesses coming to our area. And what I think sometimes we forget is we already have a lot of manufacturing businesses in our area. So over the last couple of years, I know a lot of industries have seen difficulties with gaining the right workforce and getting folks to come on board. But manufacturing has really been a big focus, not only for us at Cape Fear Community College, but for the manufacturing partnership in the area. We have got lots of businesses that have great need, and they're continuing to grow. Many of our businesses grew throughout the pandemic, which is amazing. They quickly pivoted, they changed some products in some instances, and it meant that their workforce was able to continue working, but now it's grown, so they need more workforce. So the college has the pleasure of getting to work with these different businesses and area managers to make sure that we're providing the right training that's needed, not only for the business, but for our community. We want to make sure that our community has a well-paying job and that we're providing the right training.
Okay, and how about you, John? What would you, how would you characterize what you're seeing in your business? As far as
I would say even prior to the pandemic, it was difficult even finding, any type of employee, potential employee that's looking to get into manufacturing. Things during the pandemic kind of made that worse. For us, the pandemic, we manufacture grills, and our business just skyrocketed during that. And trying to find any type of additional employees during that time was very difficult, next to impossible. And so, that's one of the major hurdles that we've been trying to overcome. And just, if you have an employee leave, just trying to replace that individual has been very difficult, made worse over the past 2 years.
Okay, and how about you, Jim? What are your thoughts on that as far as how it affects your business?
During the pandemic, CC, we're a defense company, so we had to stay operational. And of course, we've had people shuffle in and out because of circumstances due to the pandemic. So it's been rather difficult to keep things staffed. But even before that, when we formed a Cape Fear manufacturing partnership with Aaron's help, we had about 25 of us that got together, and we identified these things. And staffing issues have been going on for years around here, and not just around here, but in other areas of the country. And so that's why we formed a manufacturing partnership, and we've been able to coordinate with our partners in the Cape Fear Community College, Brunswick Community College, and been able to start to change the narrative on what's going on in regards to manufacturing jobs. There's been a stigma attached to these jobs for years and years, and we've spent the last 8 decades since the end of World War II pushing these jobs overseas. In reality, what we're offering now, as far as these things are concerned, are high-paying careers with upward mobility and, a great opportunity for a lot of the people in the area over here. And these are these things that we need to get out there and make people aware of. This is not going to be a turnaround in the course of a couple of years. in creation of a workforce for the companies in our area and in the greater area across the state and the country. It's going to take a few years to do this, but we have to start with these things, and these programs being offered at the college are a big step in that direction.
Well, let me ask you, John and Jim, to follow up. When you don't have those positions filled, what happens how does that impact the company? What happens to the company's bottom line?
Well, I mean, for us, it just means we can't get as much product out the door as quick as we want to. It means that, you know, we're having to fill multiple roles. You know, here everybody is doing multiple different jobs, multiple tasks to get the product out the door. And, you know, we'd love to be able to get, you know, shipments out quicker, faster, get them into the hands of our dealers. But when you're hamstringed by you know, not having enough employees, that makes it difficult to hit that and get that out as quick as we want.
I'd like to piggyback a little bit on what John said on there. It's the same situation with us. We make landing gear in my company. We have a small staff. We have 20 people in the building right now. And the technical requirements of the parts that we make are pretty high. We need a pretty good skill level. So if we lose somebody or somebody's out sick, it has a domino effect across the organization. Some of the ways we try to alleviate that is by doing things such as cross-training people. You know, I mean, I'm a manager, but I'll get there out on the shop floor if I need to help out and things like that. But this is not an ideal situation, and we need to start to build up our workforce and create access for our companies to trained individuals who are willing to do this kind of work and looking to do this kind of work.
And so, Aaron, how do you decide how does it work? Businesses come to Cape Fear Community College and say, we need this kind of training, or Cape Fear Community College looks at all the trends and sees what's happening and then offers that, or is it both?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. And it's important, obviously, to really listen to what local industry and businesses are saying. So diving in with them and letting them actually tell us, what do we need to teach so that somebody can be successful in your program. So as we're creating a program or some type of workforce training, we want to make sure we're mirroring what's going to happen to the best of our ability in the workforce when somebody starts working there. And I think the one thing that we oftentimes forget is it's also important to listen to our community needs. So industry is one thing, right? And that's very important to us, but they need a workforce, and that's likely coming from our community. So we also listen to our community needs. And for example, in these types of programs we've been creating for the manufacturing groups, these are shorter term workforce training programs. So we've listened to the community. A lot of people and very viable programs are what you would think traditionally happen at the community college, the diplomas, the associate degrees, right? And the career technical education side of the house. But these programs that we're newly forming and launching are very short term, anywhere from, 10 weeks to 6 months. So that somebody that's looking for a career change or looking to get their foot in the door somewhere can do that without having to worry about taking 2 or 3 years to do that. Because if you need to work, you need to work now. So we want to make sure we're making affordable programs for the community to transition quickly and do a job.
When you say affordable, how do you do that?
Yeah, so the workforce training programs that we've created are through our economic and workforce development division. So students don't even actually apply to come to the campus or the college like you would with a traditional program. It's a registration. You can register in person, you can register online. So we're looking at training anywhere from $190 to maybe $240 per course. So making it affordable is really important, so that people have this opportunity.
Okay, and Jim, and followed by John, can you talk to us about the salaries that your companies offer? Because Jim, you had mentioned these jobs can be high paying.
Yes, CC, sure. A few years ago, I joined HSM about 6 years ago, And when I came down here, there was a mentality, excuse me, of doing the work cheap and dirty and just banging it out. And we were supporting our New York operations. In the last 6 years, we've done a concerted effort to improve the skill level of our employees down here, the compensation level of our employees down here. Where now, if I have somebody coming in the door from one of Erin's programs, and by the way, these programs now we have in conjunction with the manufacturing partnership, we have 6 companies, 6 of our member organizations that offer guaranteed interviews for graduates of these programs. So that's something to keep in mind, not just HSM and Wilmington Grill with John, but also Mojo Tone, Tritech Forensics, General Electric, and Yoga Sleep are 6 of our member companies that are offering these guaranteed interviews. And where I had said where we had started out really on the low end of things, now I'm starting people out at $15 an hour. My guys out on the shop floor making the mid-20s on the average salary, and my lead men make over $30 an hour. Managers in our company do very well. And I see that going forward. In order to keep talent, retain that talent, make it attractive to them, we need to compensate our workers, and we are doing that.
Okay, how about you, John?
Very much mimics Jim. Obviously, if you look back 9-10 years ago, the wages were a lot lower, but they've increased very, very steadily, especially over the past couple of years. And in addition, it's some of the additional benefits that we provide. For instance, we do the 4-day work week. So it's additional things like that allows people a 3-day weekend. Our employees love it, especially living where we live. A 3-day weekend at the beach isn't a bad thing. So it's those type of benefits that you're seeing at manufacturers like HSM and Wilmington Grill and the other companies here in the Wilmington area. It's becoming, it's improved greatly over the past 5 years, and it just keeps on getting better. And that's a great thing. That is an absolute great thing.
When I imagine people watching this and other employees out there would love for you to talk to their bosses about that 4-day work week thing.
It is, we run 4 10-hour shifts, and it's great. The shop enjoys it, and if we have to work overtime, we can do it on a Friday, so everybody still gets their weekend. We get our output out that we need to do, and I'm a big proponent of it. So if anybody wants to talk to me about it, give me a call.
And John, can you share with us like your hourly rate range for your employees?
It's very similar to what Jim had mentioned.
What Jim? Okay, yeah.
Yep, it's right in range with that.
So 15 to.
Yep, 15 on up, and the top managers are making, like Jim had mentioned, and we try to make it competitive. Obviously, you have to, but that's what we try to do. We also do bonus programs, things of that nature. So obviously, we try to put out as many benefits as we can.
Right. And let me ask you, so the state numbers, let me make sure I get the state numbers right. And our writer, Jenny Callison, mentions these in the cover story that will be online and in the paper tomorrow. So the Department of Commerce estimates the state will need nearly 500,000 more manufacturing workers by 2028, and then almost 7,500 in the Wilmington area alone. What kind of, do you have optimism that these efforts that are going on right now, and I realizing that some of these are the smaller shorter classes, what is your outlook? What do you think the outlook will be for meeting that demand? And I'll start with you, Erin.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think the outlook and the trajectory for helping these businesses is a very positive one. If we're all working together towards common goals. Now, I think one of the big things, and Jim and John will likely agree with me, is we've really got to start focusing on some of our younger individuals as well. And we've begun efforts at the college, and as well, the manufacturing partnership has as well, to really start to help folks as young as middle school understand what opportunities are here in your backyard. I mean, there's just a lot of cool things happening in manufacturing that even myself living here for 10 years didn't realize until I started working closely with these folks. I mean, you can make things with your hands, you can make things on computers. I mean, if you have a passion, there's probably something like that or similar being made here that you could really find a great career in. So looking at the younger generation and helping, and Jim mentioned, it's not going to happen overnight in some instances. So we've really got to change this thought process, and creating programs like at the community college where the high school students can start to transition from high school into a well-paying career. Those things are on the horizon for us, and I think will definitely make big impacts.
Okay, and John, how about your predictions for the future?
I think the programs that are being put in place are exactly what are needed. More and more people keep coming to this area, and more people are going to need jobs. And the programs at Cape Fear Community College are wonderful. And I'm going to piggyback what Aaron said about even going down into the high schools. We've been working a lot with New Hanover County Schools and just promoting the word about manufacturing and careers, be it, we'll host manufacturing days. Multiple companies around the area will host that, where students come in, kind of a field trip where they can see a manufacturing facility in operation. We're working with them, trying to get more tools into the actual classroom so students can see, the different products made here in the area, the different types of jobs that are involved with those companies. And just trying to continue to work with that and make sure, and working with the school system too, to make sure that they're promoting and kind of building the training programs as well in some of their CTE classes. So a lot of it's not just at the community college level, it's at the high school and middle school level as well. And we're trying to work to help build that up and make manufacturing part of that, or expose manufacturing to those students as well, and let them know that it could be a very, very great career for them.
And Jim, do you have anything you'd like to add as far as looking toward the future of trying to meet that need for more workers?
Yes, thank you, CC. Those are big numbers that you put out there, and it's a relatively short time frame, and it's going to be difficult to achieve some of that. But to reiterate some of the things that Aaron and John both said, and John's been particularly instrumental in our group in the outreach to the middle school students. And as part of our activities on the manufacturing partnership, we've created a video geared towards younger students to make them aware of the opportunities that are in our area, and to put a little bit of seed in their mind to say, this is something that I need to investigate. Because, like I said earlier, for years and years, we've been downplaying the role of manufacturing. The denigration and degradation of the manufacturing base in this country didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be restored overnight. So we are taking this long-term approach, and I think we're making incremental steps right now and gradually building momentum towards that.
Great. Well, I want to say thank you again to Aaron, John, and Jim for joining us and sharing their expertise and insights into the issue of the manufacturing workforce. Well, I really appreciate you being on. And I wanted to let people know too that next week, Wilmington Biz Talk will be broadcast on Tuesday, June 21st. And we'll be talking to Aperture CEO Chris Babcock. Aperture's a growing fintech firm based in Wilmington, and they are also the 2022. They received the 2022 Coastal Entrepreneur Award. So we'll be hearing from him next week. And so I hope everyone has a good afternoon. Thank you again.